Hello, Virtual English 2 students. We made it to the final day, the last day of us reading the poetry of Walkers with the Dawn, Langston Hughes' poems from his section of poetry from The Dreamkeeper and other poems, specifically the Walkers with the Dawn section. There we go. I finally got it out. So today's poems are going to be As I Grew Older and African Dance. Now, here's an interesting thing about As I Grew Older is everybody today was like, hey, we got 3 poems left. No, you have 2 poems. As I Grew Older is on 2 different pages. There's a reason for that. So pages 70 and 71, that's the same poem, and there's a reason for that. Hopefully you can see the reason why. The reason why there's a change in tone and a change of mood. And there's a good reason why there's a change in tone and change in mood. So that's the structural thing I want you to pay attention to with this poem, is that there's a different tone on one page, another tone on another page, and it's supposed to it works with the symbolic metaphor that we're going to be dealing with. There is a metaphor at the center of this poem. This metaphor is around the wall. What is the wall a metaphor for is the question I am going to ask you. There's also a simile that helps set up that metaphor in the first stanza, which is bright like a sun. He's talking about his dream. Bright like a sun, my dream. So that is the simile that sets up the metaphor about the wall. There is also a couple things to note in the second stanza. We have a repetition happening. The repetition is supposed to put in your head like something happening. Like it's supposed to be a visual repetition that is involved with this. The repetition is around rose slowly, slowly, rose slowly, slowly. That's supposed to have like a specific image in being popped into your head. The third stanza is the shortest stanza, but there's a reason why he made that one the shortest for a particular reason. Why is that? Think about it. And then last but not least, once again, why is the last verse on a separate page? Why did he structure it like this? So without further ado, As I Grew Older by Langston Hughes. It was a long time ago. I've almost forgotten my dream. But it was there then, in front of me, bright like a sun, my dream. Then the wall rose slowly, slowly between me and my dream, rose slowly, slowly, dimming, hiding the light of my dream, rose until it touched the sky, the wall. Shadow, I am black. I lie down in the shadow, no longer in the light of my dream before me. Above me, only the thick wall, only the shadow. My hands, my dark hands break through the wall. Find my dream. Help me shatter this darkness, to smash this night, to break this shadow into 1,000 lights of sun, into 1,000 whirling dreams of sun. That was what As I Grew Older. Keep in mind, what is the wall a metaphor for? And the wall's being built over here, the wall's smashed over here. The page in the book is representing kind of the wall. So we smash through the wall to get to the second page. All right. So that was As I Grew Older. The next one is kind of the odd one in this bunch. It's a good poem and it's grown on me over the years, but compared to the rest of the poems that Langston Hughes includes with Walkers of the Dawn, it doesn't seem to fit. It does seem like but it does fit. You got to think about it, how it fits a little bit. So before we read it, I had to prime your knowledge. A tom-tom. A tom-tom is like a bongo, except you don't play it in your lap. It's a tall bongo that you play. So it's a tall drum that you play. That's what a tom-tom is. Pay attention to how Hughes creates a rhythm. He's going to create a beat. And the beat's kind of like a heartbeat based on how he kind of describes it. But through the use of language and through the use of repetition and through the use of punctuation, he establishes this rhythm or this beat to how we read this poem. It's very similar to the Lincoln Monument poem where he makes us become quiet. He does the same with this, and he forces us to kind of read this in a beat style. Throughout this entire collection of poems, he's kind of talking about like taking dealing with persecution, holding on to your hopes and dreams, pushing forward, trying to make the world a better place. throughout all of these. And in the final, second to last poem, the penultimate poem, we break down the wall of persecution and hate and whatnot. And in African dance we celebrate. And so kind of, I always looked at this as an awakening pride. Like you're allowed to be, it's okay to be pretty proud of who you are. It's okay to be proud of being Black. So it's an awakening of the pride is what I've always kind of assumed. Which is perfectly fine to be proud of who you are, as long as you're not discriminating. You're not using your pride as a discrimination tool. So it's perfectly fine to be proud about who you are. Just don't discriminate using your pride. So that's the kind of the idea I've kind of landed on over these years about this particular poem being included. The main thing to focus on, the main interesting thing that Hughes does here is he creates a rhythm, he creates a beat, kind of like a heartbeat, using his repetition and using his punctuation. So without further ado, African Dance by Langston Hughes. The low beating of the tom-toms, the slow beating of the tom-toms, low, slow, slow, low, stirs your blood. Dance. A night-veiled girl whirls softly into a circle of light, whirls softly, slowly, like a wisp of smoke around the fire, and the tom-toms beat, and the tom-toms beat, and the low beating of the tom-toms stirs your blood. One last note, I've always liked the simile he uses of comparing the girl to a wisp of smoke around the fire. That's a very good use of a simile to create imagery inside a reader's head. That was all the Langston Hughes poems. So it's all 14 of them that we just got, that I just finished reading. Your one-pagers will be due on Monday. And if you're a face-to-face student, we're spending all of Monday working on one-pagers. If you're a virtual student, you just need to make sure they're done by Monday. And on Tuesday, I'll start talking about the project that we're going to do based around these poems. But that's all I got for you. We'll see y'all next week. Have a good weekend. Don't do anything stupid so I can see you either face-to-face or virtually on Monday.